Hi, my name's Annabel Smith. This is my novel Whisky Charlie Foxtrot, published by Fremantle Press. The official job title was runner. Whisky referred to the role as dog's body or shit kicker. Charlie thought he could handle these names at a push, but he drew the line at being called Girl Friday. It's just an expression, Whisky said. The expression is Man Friday, Charlie said, as in Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe. For fuck's sake, don't be such a pedant, Charlie, Whisky said good-naturedly. Do you want the job or not? Whisky was an advertising hotshot by then, working as a creative director for an agency called Mustard. The job on offer was working on an advertisement Whisky had written, and Charlie didn't want it, but he needed it. His dad's affair and his parents' separation had knocked him for 6. He'd used it as an excuse to quit his job setting up expos at the new exhibition centre, which he hadn't liked anyway, and had mooched around his dingy flat feeling depressed ever since. He didn't know what he wanted to do, couldn't stick at anything, owed money to his father and to Whisky, to Christy and to Marco, and he knew Whisky was doing him a favour by offering him this job. Besides, he and Whisky had been getting on better since their parents split up. Whisky was the first person Charlie called when he found out. He knew Whisky was the only person in the world who would understand how he was feeling at that moment. Charlie thought working together on this job might be good for him and Whisky, give them a chance to get closer again. Whisky promised him hard work, low glamour, and a fat paycheck, all of which turned out to be true. There was only one small fact Whisky omitted to reveal. The advertisement was being shot in India. At the age of 25, Charlie was continually revising his mental list of places I want to go. At that time, the list was topped by Canada, Antarctica, and Peru. India wasn't in the top 10. In fact, in the entire history of the list, it had never once made an appearance. If Charlie was going to go to Asia, it would be to Thailand or Indonesia, to lounge on the beach drinking cocktails delivered to his hammock by beautiful girls in sarongs with delicate hands and flowers in their hair. It would most definitely not be to India, where, judging by what he'd seen on TV, every street was lined with beggars with severed limbs, and where people drank the same water they shat in. When he stopped to think about it, Charlie realised that India was not on his list of places I'll go when I'm older, or even places I'll go when I've been everywhere else. That in fact the only list India appeared on, a list where it occupied the number 1 position, was Charlie's list of places I absolutely never ever want to go. So it was hard to fathom how, less than 2 weeks later, he came to be on an Air India flight to Mumbai, surrounded by the rest of the film crew, all of whom seemed to know a great deal more than Charlie about shooting advertisements in general, and about this advertisement in particular. Charlie had no idea what a grip was, couldn't have explained the difference between a producer and a director, didn't know if a dolly was a piece of equipment or a member of the crew. More than that, Charlie was horrified to discover that the car they were shooting the advertisement for was constructed of a metal only marginally more hardy than aluminium foil, and was widely known to crumple like a paper cup on impact. It had been a long flight, but as soon as they arrived at the hotel, Charlie tracked Whisky down and confronted him with what he'd heard about the car's safety record. "The first lesson of advertising, Charlie," Whisky said. "You don't have to believe in the product, you just have to make other people believe in it." "But it's misleading," Charlie insisted. "There's nothing misleading about it. We're not pretending the car will hold up well in an accident. All we're saying is that driving one will increase your chances of getting laid." "You're encouraging people to buy a car which will endanger their lives. It's completely unethical." "Grow up, Charlie," Whisky said. "You don't make money out of ethics. So if your little lecture's over, I'd like to go to bed. We're due on set at 7.